try to come behind the play. No problem. Easy double up. Looking for kill number 6 and 10. 27 kills here from Eon, now making 28, 5 in a row. He somehow gets that kill, and he's somehow on a shot. How is he just something?
For Davenport, they have a chance to grab control. Game Lights over the top. He's the final one.
Open of Christian just wisely backing away for the hard point, which is arguably the most money kill we have here potentially in Modern Warfare 2.
Oh!
There you go, reality has been heard and he has been swiftly dealt with. Now Eon's in a 1 versus 3. There's 2. Surely not again. Surely not again. Surely not again! Eons!
Reload comes through. No shots being taken. Gecko. Oh, Gecko finds the shot.
For this, Phenom is not in a position to check this. Hold on a second. If the kill comes through, maybe there's a chance to hold the defuse, but no!
Sounds gonna be caught. Gecko down low.
What?
Doesn't win the gunfight. Then the next on the exit. No way. Dak gets away with the 1v3.
Slow-mo to check.
Shots land! Wait! He may have gotten it!
Did he get it?
It's gonna be tight! He gets it with time to spare!
Welcome to Columbus, Ohio, and the College COD Finals. Ooh, buddy, do we have a couple of days worth of Call of Duty action for you boys and girls out there. It's going to be an unbelievably electric show from start to finish. My whole ship with me. I've got Awesome Vision Steel in the flesh. Just had a check. Yep, you're there. You're here. Hi, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, buddy. I mean, another great day here in Ohio, Columbus. Man, I'm amped up. We got all our teams here today. Everyone's been grinding. They've been scrimming. There was a lot going into this weekend and a lot going into day number 1 as well. You need to have a good start. So I'm very pumped up, man. I can't wait to get into the action.
Last year was our first year worth of LAN action, and it ended in electric fashion. This year, though, looks to not maybe just one-up it, could 2 or 3 times up it, because all of our Final 8 teams are looking extremely tight and extremely close. We started the season, though, with a lot more than the 8th we have right here. We went through a very grueling and rigorous LAN process when it comes to qualification, but that was by your regional playoffs or the last chance LAN qualifier. The action was tight, but we are here with our final 8 teams overall. So, with that in mind, we got to go over the format and what exactly we have for the entirety of this weekend. Starting off today, we have group play. 2 groups of 4 will be squaring up in round-robin fashion. You finish in the top 2, you automatically make it into the winner's bracket. You finish in 3rd, you start in the lower bracket, but of course, you finish in 4th, and well, your season comes to an end, unfortunately.
That's right. Could be a very early day here on Saturday, but you take a look at Group A right there, man. Oh my goodness. Northwood here with Oklahoma Christian. I mean, these two, I feel like, are expected to come out with the 1st and 2nd seed, but there's definitely a chance, you know, for Saints and the Aggies to try to get something done. That's going to be a massive fight for that 3rd spot there in Group A.
Yeah, Group A was looking tremendously dangerous because New Mexico State, they were the one squad, I would say, through their playoff run that was still playing like on a very dramatic host difference. Right. And Phenom's on that team. That boy's different on LAN, I'll tell you that much. Over in Group B, though, Fisher Esports looked to kind of find a way to get back on top of the college LAN environment here after a couple of shortcomings in other esports and things of the nature. The University of North America also looking pretty dangerous. And then Davenport is one of our other rejoiners from last year alongside that St. Edwards team. Both teams are looking to kind of pick up from where they left off last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Fisher Esports, I think, coming back in, looking to try to top the group, want to have a good start for group number B, but it feels like a lot could end up shaking up, especially for that 2nd and 3rd seed here. St. Edwards, I mean, you talk about, you know, how they were able to qualify and the way in which they were able to do it. You know, a lot of Game 5s being thrown into the mix. So these guys have been very, very icy online. We'll see if some of that ice also maybe translates over to group play here on day 1.
These final 8 teams will be playing not just for a championship, but also a pretty steep prize pool as well. Taking a look at that overall breakdown, it's $40,000 with 16 grand reserved for the champion. 2nd place will come up with half of that with $8,000, and the breakdown from there, you see it kind of in the flesh. Still, everyone who gets to this point will walk away with some money, which is always great news. So even the teams that don't make it out of groups will still walk away with $1,000. But I will say, that is not just a graphic over there on the left. That trophy is for real. It is big, it is heavy, it is dope. not going to lie, that is maybe worth more than the $16,000, at least for the program's consideration, depending on who comes out on top and is able to wield that home on the way back.
Yeah, man, I mean, you said it, right? Like, that thing's got a lot of weight to it. It's going to be funny for whoever picks it up. I think they're going to be like, oh, my goodness, man, right? I think everyone was surprised as we were kind of taking a look at it here throughout the couple days leading up to the LAN. So it's going to be incredible. So much on the line. Everybody fighting for a huge chunk of cash. But most importantly, who's going to come out on top? That's what we're looking for.
All right, well, we start the action today, of course. That's why the broadcast is live. Here is our schedule for you. And you already mentioned it. In Group A, Northwood, OC Esports, both of them looking like the possible favorites. They're going to kind of maybe determine that first seed right off the rip, as they will be squared up against one another here early. Then we'll jump over to Group B to focus on the University of North America versus St. Edwards, and then a possible kind of grudge match situation between St. Edwards and Davenport. Depending on what happens in those second and third matches, we're going to watch maybe one of those two teams either qualify and save themselves into the bracket or possibly be eliminated. A lot of things that we kind of have expectations and predictions on, but I think first and foremost, this opening match here at noon, Northwood and OC Esports, this could possibly be an iteration of what the grand finals may be. Both teams are looking nasty.
Absolutely. I mean, you just take a look at the players like on these rosters, and yeah, you definitely come to that conclusion without a doubt here. So Northwood, OC Esports, man, I mean, there's no better way to kind of kick off day number one either, right?
Yeah,
so, big heads up with the scheduling coming on through here for us. I cannot wait to see how these two square up against one another.
It's going to be a hell of a day. We've got the group play to start things off, and we will also finish off with some winners round one action to get into that playoff bracket. We'll complete everything tomorrow, of course. Before we jump on in and start framing up our first match, though, we have to say a very big thank you to our sponsors, Fandom on one side, but Nelnet Bank on the other. It's not just the fact that this Nelnet Bank group has come with us, but they're also trying to find a way to help you guys pay for college. If you want to learn more about how you can do that, you can visit nelnetbank.com and check out their scholarship search tool under their resources tab. That is super, super important, especially for those that may be considering jumping on in and trying to join us here at College Con in the future if you are a high school student, or if you're somebody who's looking to kind of pursue your college career. Nelnetbank.com. Big thank you to Nelnet Bank and Fandom for helping us support this. And now we start to get into the nitty-gritty. Not a lot more for pre-show wise. We got to introduce our teams. This is a marquee matchup, flat out. I mean,
yes.
Top two teams likely for this group squaring up against each other for what will likely be the first seed.
Exactly, right? The first seed fighting out here to see who's going to be able to come out on top. You want that best round one as possible, and it's also going to be just really telling on where both stand through all the game modes, right? We've seen a lot of gameplay throughout online. There's obviously been a lot of months played through the CCL, but this is where the test really is, right?
Yep.
To see where both really are. We can kind of get a really good gauge on how they're going to be performing, where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are. That's also going to help them going into day number two here. So there is so much riding on this one. I mean, they've been doing a lot of prep on one another as well because they know this is what's going to determine that first seed.
Well, enough of us talking about it. Let's get a chance to meet the team, starting up with your defending CCL champs, Northwood Esports.
Foul. You would have to hit a remarkable quick scope or absolutely pistol with somebody. Off with the scope. Tried to go for the no scope. Goodness. Second chance. Okay. That's a hell of a read.
That sounds gonna be hot. Gecko down low.
What?
Doesn't win the gunfight. In the next on the exit. No way. Dak gets away with the 1v3.
This Northwood team, again, a little bit of a different roster from last year, but some of them are returning, and they have been clean, not dropping a single map when they were playing through the regular season. First place, of course, in 2022, and that's the biggest thing. The big, bold, not applicable, no key losses. They have never lost. So that's one of those things that you look into this playoff and say, this has got to be your favorite right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you just look at this squad, you look at what they've been able to do even outside of CCL this year, and yeah, it's terrifying, right? This is probably a team that has the fastest sub-duo here at the tournament is what I would say, which means that you're going to have to find a way to shut some of these guys down individually, but they've been very, very good. They've been electric. They've been so good at being able to snowball, and it's because every single player has the ability to take over a game completely, Alan.
Yeah, and the thing, too, is, we don't spend a lot of time trying to focus on these guys and their challengers' careers, but all of them were in the LCQ. All of them were close to making it in towards champs itself. So, yeah, Northwood, as you would expect based on the program, they have been able to recruit a power lineup. Big, Infinite, Dak, and Mock. I mean, all four of these players have had great individual years this year. There are times in the past where we look at these players and say, yeah, you know, they're good, they're great challengers players, top 16, top 32s, but this year, these guys have all been fighting for championships in one form or another, whether that be on LAN or in the Challengers Elite. So this Northwood team, you have to think that they're definitely the favorite this weekend.
No, I like that shout. I mean, dude, specifically like Bink just coming off of a top 2 guaranteed challenger finals after going through that Toronto event. I mean, he's looked like one of the best ARs that we've had so far in that tier 2 seed.
Absolutely.
So it's a little bit terrifying, you know, when you really do stack up against these guys. They have great front lines with, you know, Infinite and Dak coming into play, and then you have, you know, just great AR backlines behind them, man. They could be a problem if they get off to a hot start.
Well, on the other side, though, Oklahoma Christian, just as formidable. Let's get a chance to meet the Eagles.
Turn around. Oh, wait, he's going to get a little bit of help here. Or so you thought. Splody just kind of bounces past him, and Frosty gets pulled. Oh, it's a cheeky play, and Texas State will not love watching the stream back and seeing that.
They know there's only 15 seconds left here, and Oklahoma Christian just wisely backing away for the hard point, which is arguably the most money kill we have here potentially in Modern Warfare 2.
Oh!
Same situation, right? I mean, you've got players like Gus, you've got players like Cruz. These guys have also been right there or will be at Challengers Finals. But I think the most exciting thing about this team is the fact that they didn't go out and recruit a full squad. Ray has actually been one of the key players for us to keep an eye on. He's performed, and I think he's really elevated his game playing alongside all those other veterans we saw on the roster.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really fair shout. I mean, based off of what we've seen and how they've been able to perform, picking up a couple of key wins, I mean, you can see it there on the right. So these guys have found a lot of big dubs throughout the season, and yeah, I think a lot of it is led by Cruz, maybe helping some of these guys, trying to elevate their game like you're really saying, and we've seen the improvements they've shown. Now we'll see if they translate to LAN, but also Cruz might just have the hardest, I think, player intro so far with the triple arrows, trying to replicate what Adesanya did a few months ago. Absolutely love it, but you take a look at the full roster here: Cruz, Ray, Frosty, and Gustify.
Yeah, and Frosty, I will say, has been one of those guys that has stepped in and has really kind of showed his potential, I think, throughout what not only he's done here at Oklahoma Christian, but also at Challengers. But I think the biggest focus here stays with Cruz and Gus. They're the two most careered and storied players based on the roster overall. But I still talk about Ray as a, you know, newcomer into this squad. He has looked really, really calm and collected, which is impressive considering that he's playing alongside players that are at the top of the Challengers ladder. So he could be following along with like players that we've seen story-wise, like Ghosty, stuff like that, where it's just like comes in, finds himself part of a good team, elevates, maybe a chance to start pursuing themselves into that Challengers career. So I'd be interested to see how he handles LAN, because obviously everything until this point has been for him online. So this is a new environment for him, whereas for Gus, Frosty, Cruz, they've all had plenty of LAN experience, especially through this year in particular.
Yeah, exactly. You feel like it's really up to them, you know, try to get their teammate comfortable, try to get him loose. You know, if you have a really bad first map, you know, make sure that they're there to try to hype him back up, get him back in the zone. That's kind of the big keys, but, you know, getting off to a fiery start here for Ray could honestly make the difference, especially, again, just coming back to the submachine gun line that I keep referring to here, you know, for this Northwood squad. You need to make sure that your subs are really firing. So it could be very critical for them to try to come out, have that fiery start. But on the other note, I mean, dude, Cruz this year on LAN,
It's been unreal.
he's been a LANimal, man. Like, you've seen him online, and you're like, okay, Cruz is looking really good this year in Modern Warfare 2. You see him on LAN, it's like, Cruz is looking really good this year in Modern Warfare 2, right? So it feels like he has just hit a different level. I don't know what exactly it is. He's been getting a lot of reps in, but every time he touches the sticks on LAN, man, he becomes just a totally different player. He's been very, very special so far.
And I think that in particular is why we look at this matchup to sit there and say, yes, Northwood is, I think, the favorite based on their storied history as a program, but also the four individuals. But this OC team is not to be slept on in any form, because this, I think, has got every single factor that when it comes to you're looking for upsets or just banger electric series, right? This one provides, I think, on all fronts. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what this Oklahoma Christian team could do against the potential favorite. And, hey, whoever ends up coming up on top of this is going to feel really comfortable, I think, in their ability to come out on top of the group. But even that's not a guarantee. It's just you're right into the fire immediately, and that could really make or break, I think, your whole LAN experience, depending on how you come out for your first overall match. So lots on the line here for both of these two squads. Let's take a look at our map set to figure out where these two teams will be playing at in this best of five. Everything will be best of fives. And I think the curiosity point here is to see, okay, Hydro is going to come through. Both teams have preferred to play this map, so it's going to be, I think, a pretty even battleground for them. I'm just really curious to see how the Expo Control goes, because the LAN qualifier in the playoffs happened so long ago that really none of our teams have much experience teammates playing up against each other on this map.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, even, for as far as probably scrims, haven't really got a whole lot of reps up until recently. So have to really wonder what that's going to do for both of these squads, who's going to be able to fully take advantage of it once we do get into that expo. So I think it's a really fair show. But you take a look at, the difference maybe between a Hydro and a Fortress. You really do have two totally different play styles that could come alive for us. I mean, we were even seeing a lot of scrims yesterday from Cruz and Co. They were throwing a lot of work onto the Hydro, and you can hear Cruz just doing a lot of like that leadership role, I will say, just kind of throwing in, are we blocking? I'm here, I'm doing a lot of these things. That's what you have to do in Hydro, especially versus this team that can be very slippery, that can get behind enemy lines and constantly look for those spawn flips.
Now, keep in mind that all of our map statistics are just about a month old from when they last had played and stuff like that. But if you were to look at how they kind of worked their way through the regular season, it's not just this Hydro that is kind of a shared battleground. We didn't really see much out of either team when it comes to playing Fortress with the map 4. But I will say, winner of this opening map, I think, has a significant advantage for the entirety of the series because that Fortress Search and Destroy has been a bread and butter map for Northwood. They've played it a lot. So I think this is one of those that if you're OC, you got to come out, win map number 1. Otherwise, you could be down 0-2 early. And that's when things get a little bit dangerous, especially with an Expo control, where you know for a fact that Northwood individually, they've all had a lot of play experience through challengers. That may not necessarily have been the case outside of a couple of scrims for Oklahoma Christian. So I would say that for Oklahoma Christian, this map 1 is a very important one for them.
Yeah, I like that, right? And we already talked about some of their players, having to get loose, having to get in there. So it's going to be that much more important maybe when you talk about this matchup coming through for that map number 1. So I really love that shout, man. It's going to be very interesting to see how these guys end up coming together. Who comes out firing, man? And like you kind of just referred to, like, is there going to be a big member that comes alive right away? You can take a look at everyone right now as they're getting the smiles going. Cruz has got the vibes going. I talked about his leadership and how he's been able to lead a lot of teams, maybe even outside of the CCL through this year, even his NRK roster through the Modern Warfare 2 season in Challengers. But these guys getting amped up, getting ready here, Alan. I'm so excited to see how this one squares off.
I love the fact that you talk about Cruz and his leadership abilities, because going back to Cold War's first year, coming out of the APAC region, giving a go at North American Challengers, and we all were, I think, captivated by his story, first of all. But also, you got to remember the team that he started on, they were beating Optic in scrims at the beginning of the year, and it was just like, hold on a second, is this guy the truth? Now, of course, the year didn't finish off as strong as it started, but I will say his growth as an individual leader has been notable. From the Cold War year, getting his taste of North America, spending Vanguard at APAC, kind of leading a group more likely than not, and now coming into not just the CCL scene, but also the NRK scene, he definitely has been stepping up in the IGL department. Whereas on the other side, how about the fact that you've got essentially former teammates playing up against each other with Dak and Cruz starting the year together. So that's going to be an interesting battle just to kind of keep an eye on. But I think mostly, I'm actually most excited about Bink and Infinite, like you mentioned. It's been a really great year for both of them, whereas in years past, it's been like maybe one, maybe the other. But both of these two guys have been on top of the leaderboard across both the CCL and Challengers alike. But here we got it. Cinematic fly-through gives us the go. It's Hydro Hardpoint, map number 1. CCL LAN is officially underway. Brother, let's get it on.
Let's do it, man. I'm amped up. I am ready. And nothing better than a little Hydro Hardpoint to get the series rolling here for us for this best of 5. Already talked about the importance of coming out hot, coming out strong, grabbing a map 1 win, and start the day off on a hot foot. We'll see what happens here. Crew's going to be already running to the point. Unfavored side here for Oklahoma Christian. We'll see if they can start to work for P1 timer as well as maybe work for a very fast flip already around the map.
And you can already see it. Ray's on the route. You've got Gus cutting over through mid-tunnel, or pardon me, mid-bridge. And yeah, well, he does get cut down, but no one has any idea where Ray is. There's been no gunfights, really. Really, we've had 2 engagements to this point. Teammate comes out, and now Ray makes his presence known as he gets around the back. Northwood's still on for P1 time, but there is a problem in their back line. The thing is, Ray thinks he flipped. Not the case. He's going to have to hold his ground here as long as possible at Dome.
Yeah, certainly going to have to try to get something done, and look at that. Dak able to find him, and now a chance to come away with solid P1 time, as well as maybe keep them pinned to the back. Frosty would need to open something up here from the side of the hill. We'll be able to find that first, right back into the water. A good follow-up kill, and now maybe a chance to push through.
Little slow, little cutesy from Oklahoma Christian, but it ends up working out for them when it comes to their ability to neutralize time and still put a threat together at new. Dak spawned out here, so what happens to the rest of this Northwood team? Looking to see where Big spawns. Yeah, he'll still spawn in the back, so the break needs to come through. Frosty cutting behind the hard point, catches one with a Semtex out. Goes to the pistol, just get the reload on the Vaznev, brother. break from the front, not really gaining a lot of ground here, and Frosty, last one left, will get overwhelmed. Northwood to get the hold.
Oh, Northwood are also able to push out. Look at Dak right now, ready to start taking gunfights right around P1. Infinite, same thing right through Ruins. This is getting scary very, very quickly. Oklahoma Christian gonna have to maybe just look at chalking, try to play exits, make sure they get themselves set up for new.
Yeah, this is all about trying to keep that pressure forward on this exit as much as you possibly can. You do not want to get pushed back on this rotation early, otherwise Northwood will be enjoying a very good lead. Now, how about this? Infinite Dead Silence play tries to sneak up on Cruz, but he got into position, wins the gunfight, holds on to rotation towards P2. Control room about to open up. Northwood try to work their way through the Ruins side of the map, so keep your eye on number 4. Ray is the one who's going to have to try to lock down this backside and also transmit info that, yep, Northwood's hitting him from the back.
Oh, how about it so far? 9-2 started. Oh, no.
Not good.
Kills are coming through quickly. Spawns in the back, already here for Northwood, ready to overwhelm the point. Cruz needs to go big. Little slide coming on through, but it will be punished here from his teammate Dak. Now we'll see if they can try to put together a hold, because Northwood Esports, I mean, they've just broken in immediately. You need a response. Kills are looking okay, but can they fully stabilize?
Yeah, and the thing about stabilizing is not just get onto the hard point. You still have Bink locking down spawns for Northwood, so they're going to stay in control of the proximity to get to this hard point faster. Good kills from OC, but again, still not on the hill. The game clock has actually won this hard point to this point. 20 seconds till the fight for it. Gus up top, trying to hold his life on 4 in a row, but won't get that to a killing spree, and the scrap time looks good for Northwood. Not a good start for Oklahoma Christian.
No, not a good start. Rotated about 30 seconds early, and you can only really get yourself a few seconds off the start. Awkward little pistol battle in the water, and Infant's able to find another one, man. This guy is just flying around the map right now. He is up to 12. He's continuing to build the kills on up. He is really the reason Northwood are in position with the lead that they have. But a chance now to try to, again, lock it down. Cruz all the way in the back. Spawn's looking good here. Now just need to find the kills.
Oh, and Mock clears off Ray once again. There's just no time allowed for Oklahoma Christian. Whoa! Mock absolutely shreds through one. Takes the gunfight versus Cruz, who gets his own trade by way of Semtex, but the spawns flip, and Northwood will still get in the hard point first. Man, the Eagles, they need to find a way to get back into this game, because at the moment, Northwood is dominating on all fronts.
Are they ever? I mean, that is just another, like, what, 10 seconds that they're able to get off of, like, a 20, 30-second rotation. So, I mean, they are really hurting at the moment. Northwood Esports look to build themselves up what looks to be about a 100-point lead. So, now, Dak, ready. Oh, like, look at how fast he is here. This is 10 seconds before the hill's about to pop. Frosty does manage to at least stop that play. And kills are still coming on through. But you take a look at Infinite. He's ready to fly. He's up to 13, and make it 14.
That kill could be big, too. What happens to the spawns here for the side of OC? They may get blocked around the back. Oh, good timing on the elimination. Cruz will still be able to hope and get Frosty into the play faster. So now Northwood on their first true break attempt from the front. Dak is already in for contest. Gus isn't in a position to lock down the spawners coming out from Northwood. They're going to get this threat down early. Here comes the challenge. Infinite for 1. The rest of Northwood starts to fly on in, forcing Cruz into the hard point. He's now up to 4, but up top, trade comes out. Infinite, now the last one standing, is going to get a 1v1 with Gus. If you can find him. Neither player really able to lock each other down, but eventually OC break their way in. Problem is, they've lost spawns again. Here comes the pinch. Dak from one side, the rest of his team from the back have to be able to hold it up, and no, they will not be able to. Northwood secure their break for scrap again.
Well, finally, at least Oklahoma able to get themselves a little bit of that time. Don't fully secure the back 30, but it's a moment where they can try to build off of it, really. 54 points now, up to about 125. Man. We're looking at what's kind of set up at P1 right now, and Northwood already in position. It feels like this has been the case on a lot of the more important hills, but more specifically P1 to P2. Cruz doing it all at the moment, trying to break open P1, needs to get through Infinite, but instead might just focus on the spawns.
I mean, Bink and Infinite right now are combined 30 and 15, double positive from that duo from last year. I mean, it's just been too strong at the moment. Cruz doing what he can. He's getting a lot of engagements, but talking about Ray, he just has not been able to find his way into this series. 3 and 14 right now. He needs to settle in because his team is doing what they can to try to keep the trends moving towards at least staving off Northwood running away with this game. But at a certain point, you got to see OC dominate a hard point to get back into the mix of it. And, well, to be fair, they've done a pretty solid job here. It just comes down to can they actually get a hard set 60 on one of these key money hills.
Yeah, that's going to be the big factor here. See if Frosty maybe is the one to try to get through Ruins, but no, the control is there. everyone at the back, making sure spawns will not come in. And yeah, those are deep spawns as well for Oklahoma. So you take a look at the position that Dak has. He can finesse his life very well inside of ruins. He even backs up a little bit to make sure no one's been able to slip through enemy lines to flip out the spawn. So he's going to go all the way to the back. It does give you a little bit of room to maybe work through, but through the front, Infinite, he is piecing them up.
Yeah, a little bit of damage. He said that's good enough. Helped by teammates around the back. Semtex does the job. Dak gets it done on the other side through ruins.
Man.
Perfect, right? I mean,
Beautiful.
What else do you want if you're Northwood? Holy. Gus around the back. Doesn't quite get a read on the bank. Good gunfight window. Hold on a second. This could be an opportunity. A couple of shots through the door. Mock trying to hold on, but there we go. Ray gets a key double from the front. Solid pinch. Dak still spawns behind this play, though, and I don't think OC have any idea of this. You've got Frosty coming back towards the hard point. Cruz should be calling for help, and that's a key 18 seconds that Oklahoma Christian may miss out on unless Frosty wins the double. Not going to happen. Northwood again get the scrap time.
Oh, man. A little bit tough so far. Still down by about 100 points. Gus has been able to get himself going. He found himself on a 4-spree there in and around P1, but once again, asking for more members to try to step up. Specifically the subs. Ray and Cruz, good kills on rotation. Bink, though, it feels like he's always somewhere threatening in the back. This time, gonna try to attack right through water and see if he can open up the point. Good first gunfight. Ready for the second. Chows and snaps. Gets some help there onto Gus, and just like that, Northwood find themselves back in the time.
Yeah, full team wipe. Back to a 100-point cushion. Win conditions been established. You've got one player on the back from Gus who gets dealt with by Infinite, and yeah, that may just do it right there. Not the start for Oklahoma Christian that you're hoping for. I mean, like we mentioned, this is a tough opening matchup playing up against the former champ. Arguably, the roster has stayed just as good, if not got better, compared to who was on it last year. But, man, that is not a start for Oklahoma Christian that we want to see. And I think in particular, not just, point fingers, but, Ray, kind of the new guy in, it kind of feels like he's out of his league right now. And that is not what we had seen throughout the regular season, nor from playoffs from his Oklahoma Christian team. So that needs to start getting figured out if they want to have a chance against this Northwood team where any of the four of them could run any role. They're going to dominate in it.
Exactly. And well, things might just end right here on P4. We'll see if they can try to break it open if they're going to have to. Have to do it quick. Cruz through the back. Might have an angle to get through Dak, but it's red. It's shut down. It's 3. Make it 4. That fall. And now just 10 seconds away for the dub and even the 100-point club for Northwood.
Yep. Not good news here. Said it once, said it twice. We'll say it 3 times. The Eagles not off the ground at the moment. 250-97 the tally. Whew. And it wasn't one of those maps, we often see it, I think, at this level where it's like, oh, it's back and forth, and then all of a sudden one team takes over. It's like, oh, okay, like those small things, those small patterns that we saw, a couple of things start to go your way, maybe a chance for you to bounce back into the map. But that was never the case here. This was Northwood from the minute go.
Exactly. I mean, a huge problem was the fact that they were just getting broken in the first 10 seconds, right? How many hills did that happen in the very first set? It felt like every single one, and Oklahoma Christian just kept getting put in that blender on Hydro. It's like, well, there's 30 seconds left. We can't afford a spawn flip. We have to just simply rotate new, set ourselves up, and every single time they would, boom, instant break. Someone gets through. Someone flips out the spawns. A lot of credit to Bink for putting a lot of influence on making sure he's in the right place, right time, getting his teammates closer to the hill. And, well, that is just cruise control, it feels like, for a lot of these guys. Very, very happy with a map number 1 like that to kick off your Saturday.
Absolutely. I mean, it's as cool and calm and collected as you'd ever want to see. And that's the thing about both these two teams. Again, the numbers and stats that we have are almost antiquated at this point, considering how long ago these teams played. But this was a map that both teams had preferred seeing in the map set, in their regular season, in the playoffs. They played it a lot. So not a good start for Oklahoma Christian, even more so that we go to a Fortress search that just based on what we had seen, Northwood prefer to find this map in the series set. I will say, and here's to kind of paint the other side of the picture, this is the only vulnerability, if you want to call it that Northwood have had throughout the season. They've only dropped 2 maps. Both of them were search and destroys. Now, again, they played like 40 maps, so only dropping 2, not terrible,
bad, man.
But it's just one of those things that for Oklahoma Christian, the news doesn't get any better as you jump into this map number 2.
No, exactly. And, well, have to try to get someone going. We did say the fact that, listen, you might have a slow start. Someone like Ray, who hasn't really been in this environment, now needs to put it together, and, well, some of his teammates might need to help him get there. Just have to reset. S&D, totally different game mode, different pacing, certainly a lot of opportunities to bring it back, but you take a look at this replay package and the highlights that were happening here, and it just, again, feels like a lot of these guys were just winning every single gunfight. Infinite had the fiery start, too, and this is the thing that I'm going to keep talking about this weekend until someone shuts me up and another sub-duo shuts them down, but you know, the ability to play extremely fast and quick between Infinite and Dak really just sets you up because they're just finding so much impact around the hill itself, right? They're putting themselves in really good positions to break in first 10 seconds, find a double, make everyone start tweaking a little bit inside the point, having to look around. Where's the next battle about to take place from? And then boom, he's right into the point, putting pressure on. So have to hit the regain. I'm sure they're going to be able to do it. Again, a lot of experience from someone like Cruz to kind of make sure everyone's level-headed coming into a search and destroy, right? You really need to rely on him in positions like
Have
this.
to reset the tone, I think, right here, right off the rip.
Yeah.
It's just one of those that I think you look at a team, because even, you know, we talk about Ray, like this is one of his first LAN experiences that we know of at least.
Yeah.
The same could kind of be said for Frosty. This has been his 1 year that we've really seen him kind of commit into playing through challengers, going to LAN, trying to put together solid teams, and there has been a lot of success for him. But again, this is one of only a few experiences that he's been able to kind of live out on LAN, at least again based on what we've been able to find research-wise. So, you know, you've got two younger players that are going to feel, I think, at a certain level like this is going to have to be an upset run for us to take down this Northwood team that has been storied, long-living careers, 4 years long, probably on average for that group before. So it's one of those things that it is a tough matchup, and you just have to settle in and just hopefully find your bearings. And that's when you look to Cruz to try to hopefully school and teach these boys come on into it. So here's a look at it. Fortress Search and Destroy, as mentioned. The Expo Control still a wild card for both these two teams.
Fortress S&D coming up, man. This is where you need someone, you know, like Ray to shut down Infinite. Someone like Frosty to make sure these guys are not just kind of running at you and just kind of sprinting into the site. And that's something that could happen very, very quickly as well. These guys obviously just come off a dominant win. They might be looking to try to get very, very aggressive and kind of set the tone themselves and say, listen, this one's going to be a quick series. We're ready to try to grab that first seed early. This one obviously being the biggest determination on who very well might end up coming out with the first place in Group A. But a lot of things could happen in Fortress S&D, man. I mean, it can get very, very chaotic very, very quickly. Have to see them try to maybe get some of those strats going here for themselves. Whatever they've prepped, have to use it now. Because like you said, you need the regain more than anything if you're going to stay competitive in the series.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, too, that this map and with these two teams, when they play in CCL, they expect to dominate teams on the other side.
Yeah.
So you often very regularly see these squads just run at their opponents. We even saw that in the playoffs, for crying out loud.
Sure.
So this is a different circumstance where your playbook starts to really get stretched because you don't just have the we're just going to run at you strategy as much. At least you hope not the case, because if Northwood starts to run at you and you don't handle it, totally different circumstance. But for Oklahoma Christian, I kind of use this as their perspective. You're going to have to outthink this Northwood team. Come out with something that they don't expect, find a way to kind of tilt the advantages your way early, and then force this Northwood team to have a deep conversation about what do we need to do to get our game plan going, because it definitely feels like, based on the individuals that we have on screen, the fact that they all play on different teams and challengers, they're going to come together and start to think, here are the things that we want to run. And that playbook, you would assume, would be really, really deep. So for Cruz & Co., this Oklahoma Christian team, I think you have to really establish the tone early here.
You have to. There's no other way to put it. Have to come alive, make sure they're not steamrolling you. And like you said, just find a way to shut them down and just make them think a little bit. Have to adapt through these rounds. You know, Fortress S&D to really only have one bomb site at times. Maybe we'll see a chance to kind of work towards being the back of feed free, but overall, it is just all about trying to find different ways to stop them, different ways to maybe get up top, top double, top single, whatever it might be. That's where you're going to have to look for certain opportunities, but looks like this bumps might be coming out. These guys still in it. Cruz still giving good vibes here. He's got some smiles going, right? So, like we pointed to, the man that's going to keep everyone in the game. We'll see if they can try to get it done. Fortress S&D coming up, Alan.
Have to have it here if you're the Eagles. Just have to try to find a way to make this competitive, because we also saw there that map one pick was Oklahoma Christians. So that's key to kind of keep in the back of our mind as far as what do they prefer. And if they want to get to their search and destroy pick, they'll have to wait till map 5. So definitely one of those that you feel like you kind of have to survive through, maybe even winning not just this map, but also the control if you want to get to, you know, a more favorable series layout. But here we go. Northwood on the offense. First look for mock sniping. we had a personal conversation about this during the LCQ. A little bit of shade from Joey Dubsy on the timeline about that round 11. Shout-outs if you know what we're talking about. But he's going to give it a go off the rip here. Ray nearby, but Mock hasn't seen any instance of him, so everything will stay calm for now, 4v4.
Right. Constantly just looking for those angles, and well, they're just going to go for it right away. Will Nathan stunts come through? Shots Wall banks being thrown out. Stun will connect, but the bomb is down. Can Infinite exit safely? That's now the question. Bach looking over the top. Shots are just not connecting, and it's already been a first blood drawn here from Gus.
Oh, I can already see Joey Dubsy sending the
Put
tweet
it
right
away.
now. If he's watching, I guarantee he's already got it in drafts. Couple of trade backs, though. No instance of a defuse as of yet. Dak for a 1v3. Has the check. Shot's not clean, though. And that will be enough for Gus to say, all right, I'll hop on. Ray finishes off the kill. And with that, everyone shares the elimination for Oklahoma Christian for a solid retake.
Yeah, it's a great first kill, right? You make sure that Infinite doesn't have any kind of an exit. The stuns lock him in place. And no trophy systems here in the round number 1. Make sure that they are able to finish off that kill. But Mock obviously had a really big opportunity to end the round. I mean, it was in his hands, right? So shots just weren't hitting. Wasn't able to maybe find it. But either way, very nice retake. That's exactly the first round that you want to see out of Oklahoma Christian.
I just want to know if Mock's going to snipe again.
Yeah, is he going to bring it back out?
Is he already in his own head about it? I mean, because there really were 3 looks right there where he could have held off that retake, no worries. Bruce. Okay.
Ooh.
I don't know if Mock was sniping or not, but he takes him off of top statue cleanly, but good trade for Bink underneath the P1 Vans. Gets us to a 3v3. Infinite is sneaking his way up through bottom art, and that could be huge. As soon as Northwood get a read that this plan's coming, expect to see Infinite try to collapse on the play, and here he comes. Oh, God.
Ray has no idea. Infinite should be able to finish it off. There it is. First kill good. Little stun check through the back, but Gus is able to respond. Can Gus get a second? Infinite good on the first look. Won't be able to finish off the kill just yet. Dak, though, able to get the information. Communication is there. Now all down to Frosty for a 1v2.
He's already hit the dead sound. He's going to lose it here in a moment. And no, Infinite just checks it. Yeah, tough position. For a moment off that post plant, I thought Oklahoma Christian was in a really good spot to just readjust to the fact that Infinite got around the back. They almost had an opportunity to both get in towards inner side cannon munitions. That could have led to a really interesting post plant 2v2, but now too quick to try to bounce in as Northwood. They get the clean kills. They'll tie us up with a retake of their own.
A really big gunfight for Bink also through P1, right? If Bruce is able to hold on to that position, maybe Infinite's not able to get through bottom ammunition and actually attack the play like he did, come behind Ray. So huge kills coming on in. So far, so good. But you're looking at what is going to be another big round coming on up. Adjustments might be thrown into the mix here. We'll see if Mock is going to pull at the sniper. Doesn't look like it. He has an AR. He's got a beautiful skin on as well. And we'll see if anything maybe changes. Last time, just a pretty basic plan, but now the trophies, dead silence starting to come into play. We'll see if they decide to pick up the tempo.
Oh, big focus here, right towards top windows and bottom art for the side of Northwood. Even got an opportunity. I think if that stun lands, Bink would have tried to make a play around P1, but he's going to get pushed off. It's Frosty who keeps him honest. And the opening idea from Northwood essentially doesn't find the success they were initially looking for. Oklahoma Christian playing reserved, stays safe from that opening utility. Frosty's still trying to see if Bink will cross, and he's gotten a read at it, but not quite an opportunity for elimination. And with 55 seconds on the clock, there finally comes the 1v1. Puzzling to see Oklahoma Christian still try to push Bink off that angle, and that's good enough for first blood for Northwood, now looking for the plant.
Yeah, I think the comms were coming through. The Halo said they're on the site. Cruz thought he maybe had an angle around the back. Bink says, no, you do not. Another big 1v1 for Bink, and while now a second. Frosty needs to try to get something here, and it's just all falling apart. Ray, the last one up, and while the quick trade is there, Northwood, very clean attack.
Not a huge fan of that, I think, for Oklahoma Christian. I mean, you had Frosty with the information that Bink was going to be playing on the backside of that kind of side staircase to that munitions art area, and there was a trophy down that he also knew about, and so to kind of see Cruz try to catch timing there, with there's a 4 AR defense as well. So, I don't know, a puzzling call, I would say. And then after that, Oklahoma Christian just kind of fall apart, just not being able to recontest onto the site. So, Northwood go up 2-1, 3 kills in a row now for Infinite in back-to-back rounds. Stuns over the top, trophy system is there. Oh, hard aggressive hit from the Eagles all the way on around the backside, but Frosty gets dealt with. Mock into reposition. He does get tagged, but stays alive. Infinite drops, 3v3 we go, and now the bomb will reset back towards A.
Oh, coming on through. 3v2. Goss takes a reach out, and he is completely punished for it. Cruz, the last one up. I mean, he is being tagged, but somehow finds that trade. Bink maybe doesn't fully regen, I suppose. So now, a lot of time on the clock for Cruz to try to finesse what would be a full-on 1v3, now 1v2, and he's also got the bomb in hand.
Yeah, and he will get this dead silence before the clock becomes a huge factor. Oh, he's thinking about trying to dash across the B. He's been seen. Yep. He does get through. Problem is, look at Dak's position. Already kind of trapping him in. Good shots, but still, just an impossible position to be in. You got to respect the idea. Try to see if you can just catch a timing to get across to B for the free plant, but yeah, Northwood just had a read for that entire setup. As soon as there was that 3-man commitment over towards P1, yeah, they had a solid read on it and dealt with it pretty darn nicely.
And I mean, again, how big has Bink been so far? It feels like all of his gunfights that have happened in these last 3 rounds have happened at like critical moments that have altered. Okay, well, we no longer have this player in play. We now need to try to work through in a 2v3 and see if we can work onto the side. So that one really hurting them. Cruz giving it a good attempt, but a lot to ask for despite having a lot of time. And now 3-1 up, Northwood Esports 3 in a row.
Little bottom art check here from Bink, very passive angle. Couple of shots from Cruz through those double doors, but everyone stays healthy, everyone's fine. Infinite still watching topside double windows with the bomb, waiting for the chance to make a play for the actual cross in towards A. He's trusting his ARs to actually do a lot of the contact here early, and then he'll make his move. So this contact play between Ray and Dak has been a part of every single Northwood offense. Just comes down to, can Ray get the info and then use that as a chance for his team to follow up?
A bait play coming through here. Dak just trying to get stuns and nades. Well, it is working. He's able to get a nice angle, but Gus off the top ledge will punish, will find the kill. Mock says, no, I don't want anything to do with that site just yet. He gets shrugged off the angle, and while this is a much better round, Oklahoma, they have stopped the plant. Bomb now down.
Yeah, late Semtex actually keeps Mock out of the play. That was supposed to be a double commit to getting on towards site. So now all of a sudden, Mock has to try to commit on one side, Bink on the other. Timing here. Oh, hold on a second. This would also be a 1v3 situation, plus the ace from Bink. Dead Silence still healthy and ready to go. Gus playing down low and deep. Has not seen him yet.
What a read.
Oh my goodness. Bink has said, hey, Cruz, remember that time that you wanted to try to play for beat? This is how you do it. Perfect timing. He's going to get a solid post plant, but Oklahoma Christian are getting a read of this here. They come. They may be able to stop him from getting an exit. Frosty watching over the top of it. Shots are out. Bink in trouble. Oh, well done by Oklahoma Christian.
Wow. I mean, that was a good call for Bink, right? Realizing, listen, both players have just flipped around the map. They're playing at the back. They're going to be able to play pretty easily off of a plant and find the kill, but Bink just can't get here in time. He can't exit off the site. If he's able to exit, it's great. But both players hit the right angle, one down low at gate, one up top in maps, right? Use a bit of the low ground and high ground against Bink in case he finds one or even predicts the first kill. So that's a round you needed, right? You go down 4-1. This one's out of hand. Oklahoma Christian starting to put it together, and Gus now up to 6-3.
Yeah, Gus is huge in that round in particular, and it's in the fashion of how Oklahoma Christian changed their defense. Last time through, we kind of saw it. A lot of individual focus down towards that P1 stable side, try to control the A side of that by hitting on the opposite angle. This time, it's let's make sure they're not pushing through, and then let's wait for that contact and double chow open. And the timing of the nades that came to support that were perfect, because like you saw, Mock was just not able to be a part of the play. He got tagged down to 20 HP by Semtex.
Sure.
The bomb already committed on to A, and that's an easy double chow on the outside. So timing-wise, design-wise, much better here from OC. Now Gus will be the one kind of passively watching it for any defensive push-throughs towards bottom art. And Frosty may want to try to go quickly here to cross.
We'll be able to clear out some of open.
No,
we'll be stunned up now, and now they absolutely know that they are in the site. Oh my goodness, nades coming through. Frosty though, somehow still alive despite what felt like 2-3 nades. Infinite gonna chow, and Frosty finds the kill. Cruz follows up. Can Dak get 2? Yes, he can. And now we go into a 2v2 with about a minute left.
Still advantage here to Oklahoma Christian though. They've got the A site. Ray should be able to collect this bomb, no problem. That looked like a friendly Semtex.
I think so.
I'm not gonna lie, that came from Gus. So that stalls things out a little bit. Good read here from Gus. Big backs. A little bit of trouble. Bink trying to get there to assist, but won't get there in time. Still had a chance to play for the angle, but doesn't hold it. Instead, it's the Dead Silence play over towards A. And oh boy, what a read this is. I think he's seen one. There's the second. Steps away from any possible trade. Gus collects the bomb. He's going to go to B. Well timed, but again, I think Bink's going to get a read on this. Yeah, he's already on the way.
Gus be able. Oh, the timing here is so interesting. Bink just going to do a quick little head check. He's not fully certain that he's went to the B site. Now he's going to know, but Gus is able to position in the corner. Bink might be able to lock this down and get the read on it.
I don't think he saw him cross, though. Yeah, he's definitely worried about where Gus has gone up to, and how about it? Yeah, the timing just barely works out. If you saw it for a moment, Bink was second-guessing. Is he actually at B? And those couple of steps that he took back over towards the A site allowed the plant and the exit for Gus to go completely unnoticed. And then just standing tall right over the top of the bomb site.
Wow.
Huge win for OC. Takes us back to essentially level terms here, not just in the score, but also just in how the mind games have come through to this point. And Gus is now on 5, 1 away from a cruise missile. That could be massive, and I have to assume that this is all about bait and switching this defense for retake for Oklahoma Christian. Get Gus this cruise missile, no worries.
It has to be. That's got to be the game plan here. Well, you are on defense, as you say, so might be able to get some spams in. Gus might even get a gunfight. We'll throw a stun up top single. Not going to connect. Infinite playing up in the corner, making sure no one's doing a fast hop-up play for Oklahoma Christian. But everyone still very much alive. Bomb is not committed to the site just yet.
Terrible.
But there's the first kill again. Finding Cruz with the sub as well
Yeah.
from Dak.
And the thing about this is now all of a sudden Gus has to worry about 2 things at once. He's got to worry about the cross, and he has to worry about what's behind him at A. He's lost his other defender at Frosty. This is not ideal. Gus, still a chance. Damage is in, but he gets traded out. Okay. Northwood punished. They shut down the threat of streaks. Now it's Ray, last one alive. Good shots onto the first, decent read to the second, but just too hindered and hit up to be able to do much with it at Northwood. Now go up 4-3, and everything kind of goes back to level here, not having to worry about the cruise missile being in play.
And we see Northwood kind of pull off this initial play a couple times now where they go, top boat, right? They throw some stuns out there. They get a little information. Is there anyone playing close? Is there anyone trying to go for that top double hop up? And, Dak just completely blows away Cruz. You have to be sure that he had an AR there, right? And the sub-machine gun from Dak
Can't
able
have
to
that.
take down his teammate in challengers. And that 1v1 just opens up the floodgates. Kills start pouring through after that. Northwood Esports back on top, but only up by a round.
Yeah, if you're going to run a 2-man defense towards the B side of the map for Oklahoma Christian, you can't have that happen. Ray drops. Early aggression this time for Northwood. This is the first time we've seen this come out. And Infinite still has the dead silence to play off of. Gus, Semtex's red. Infinite follows up, no worries. Stun down low. Cruz not hit by it, but he's been seen. Semtex off the back wall. Cruz, big gunfight win, but Dak still keeps the numbers convincingly with Northwood, and Cruz is getting isolated. He has no exit. Everyone is watching him from both angles. Bomb not even collected at the moment, but may not be needed. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
1v3 situation. Cruz has been able to isolate one, no worries. Stun comes out. Dak over the top. Oh, shots come through, but there's not enough ability to go left to right when you're stunned like that. And we've got that point for Northwood.
Yeah. Cruz trying to play the best he possibly can in a position where it feels like if they start coming in one by one, maybe he's able to find the kill, but Dak holding onto the stun grenade. Make sure he finds yet another key gunfight here versus Cruz. Now up to 9-3 himself. He's been putting together quite a few kills over these last couple rounds. And Northwood feels like they're starting to get into the driver's seat, a chance to really close it out heading into this round on the attack. And this has been the problem, right? Northwood have been able to find first bloods, even second bloods. They follow up quite nicely. There needs to be a response here for Oklahoma. What are they going to change?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing about this defense for Oklahoma Christian is that we talked about the fact that Northwood has put so much focus towards this top window position. Even if they're not finding gunfights, having control convincingly towards that high ground allows you so much versatility as you're trying to approach, especially this A site, because you know that the only place that you can get contested from is from these two archways.
Sure.
So it's been a lot of very secure information. Even the spam through the wall is going to work out. Infinite crosses, looking for a quick plant. Trophy system is here to keep them safe. Double chow towards the outside, not going to work out. Mock watches it beautifully, and Gus even getting pushed back should lead to a plant here from Infinite.
Yeah, Gus, is he going to try to look again? He will. Mock will shut him down, and well, it's all down to one. Ray, once again, another 1v4. Not even going to see the plant come through just yet. And well, they don't need it. They run at him. They take him out. Flawless round to end it off here in the search and destroy. It is all business for Northwood Esports as they take a 2-0 lead in this best of 5.
Yeah, it's just another one of those that's just Northwood are looking like just head and shoulders the better team right now. I think the way they're playing around this map in particular kind of shows you why they like it so much. The double sub pressure up top on the offensive side, making sure no one challenges windows is key. And we don't often get a chance to kind of see the map play out like that, but the way that Northwood are using that high ground is so great as far as being able to kind of give yourself a breath and then be able to get a read on, okay, are there defenders on top side maps, or are there defenders mostly playing down towards hay? And depending on what information you gather through things like stuns, utility nades, things like that, that's how you approach the site on the cross. And very regularly, Northwood were able to get on towards the site without taking too much damage. The only time that didn't happen was when Mock caught a Semtex, because that was supposed to be the call that Infinite and Mock were supposed to go together in that 3v3 to get the bomb down. But once Mock gets tagged, there's no one helping on that outside angle. And you see how important that is in that last round when Mach finds 2 kills towards outer, allowing Infinite a chance to plant.
Yeah. And I mean, the only real play that we saw ever on the defense that was coming through besides just kind of a default setup was Cruz trying to work through the side lane, trying to work around the back. And when that gets shut down, you know, multiple rounds in a row, you don't really feel confident or comfortable to try to continue to pull that play off, knowing that I'm getting flooded, I'm costing my team, I'm putting them in a man disadvantage here. So it felt like it was just easy reads from that point forward for Northwood, able to find the kills. And again, that top double control, it just puts so much pressure on, as Fink was holding something up there in the camera. But either way, man, 2-0 up. Northwood looking really solid. Dak has a great game, man.
Yeah.
It is a problem at the moment. And, well, that was, I think, one of the key maps that they had to win heading into an Expo.
I think so, too. It's just, even if they win the map 3, I still think going to a Fortress Hardpoint is just not going to benefit this Oklahoma Christian team. I mean, it was Northwood's selection. To be fair, again, the results we don't have a ton of, and they're old, but neither team has played a lot of Fortress Hardpoint, but you lean towards the fact that Northwood have cooked something up if they're decided to use that as their map pick.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations that, again, looking to the opening hardpoint and here again in the search, Oklahoma Christian is just getting out-cotted, out-brained, essentially, at the moment. The playbook looking good for Northwood. I mean, really, the only rounds that went awry were the Semtex round that we mentioned, the move over to plant and the 1v1 over towards B. And those are not rounds that you come away with saying, like, oh, we won this round. Like, we didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever a moment where I thought Oklahoma Christian was outplaying Northwood as a 4v4 situation. And that's not great news, I think, when you look at the overall, or how this series is panning out between these two squads.
Yeah. Looking tough right now. A lot of smiles, of course, on Northwood. I mean, keep coming back to it. This feels like this is the matchup that determines who comes out first. And you take a look at that scoreboard right there. My goodness, 7 of those 10 were non-traded. Gus had a really good go of things, right? He was like 8-3 at one point in time, and then he completely slowed down those last 3 rounds as well. So, you know, he was really leading the charge here for Oklahoma Christian. And that started to fall off. Well, the rounds just started to fly on through. Bink right behind him. Again, he had, I think, like 3 impactful kills throughout some of those rounds that determined the round going in favor of Northwood Esports as well. Taking down Cruz, winning some huge battles.
And it's not just taking down Cruz, it's taking down Cruz first. 3 first deaths for him. So when your IGL's out of the picture like that early, it puts you in even more of a weird position when it comes to trying to play in 2v2, 2v3 up against a team like Northwood, where all 4 of those guys can handle the mantle of kind of controlling and quarterbacking plays. So tough scenes here for Oklahoma Christian, but still a possibility for them to extend this series with an Expo Control coming up next. Before we jump, though, a quick break. Shout out our sponsors, and we'll come back with the Expo Control after this. Ooh, welcome back, friends, family, all you crazy COD fans. I see you out there. We've got ourselves a series, at least in the form of the fact that a series of COD is being played. Now, that said, Northwood are in control of said series, 2-0 up, pretty convincing from start to finish. I think the biggest thing about this as we look towards the Expo Control, not a lot of history on this map for these two teams, just because of the fact that it is newer compared to when College COD was last being played. But we need to see a moment where Oklahoma Christian can actually beat this Northwood team, because right now, trends, patterns, everything's been favoring the Timberwolves.
That's right. Yeah, we haven't seen anything convincing come through yet. Like, never even a moment really in the hard point where it's like, oh, they got a full feed, they pushed out a moment here to really take control, right? Have not seen that. So you're absolutely right, Alan. It is do or die. Expo Control here coming in for this series. You have to find a way to start to put it together. Not to say that the series gets any easier after this per se, but at least getting a map on the board, you know, trying to get something going here, because, you know, it's not going to feel good. You lose 3-0 to Northwood, and then you have to go into these other matches where there was a lot of potential maybe to actually find wins.
Yeah, and I think the thing about that, too, just kind of small verbal updates if you weren't paying attention to the score ticker. St. Clair's up 2-0 right now on New Mexico State in this group. So that is a team that we kind of thought would come out with some feistiness. And if they were playing New Mexico State, who looked really good in practice yesterday, if they're coming out and beating them like that, that may mean that this St. Clair Oklahoma Christian game could be tighter than we would have expected, because, you know, candidly and plainly speaking, we're still looking at the top 2 teams in each group to be the top 2 teams in each group. But that status may change a little bit, especially with Oklahoma Christian not really playing at the level that I think we expected them to coming into this matchup, at least at the moment.
No, I agree. Like, I mean, right, like 97 points at the hard point. There was maybe some moments in the search, but again, just never really firmly in control. So I think we expected a lot more out of these guys, and I think, you know, still some players are struggling a little bit. Ray, it's really important for him to have a really good expo, I think, here, just to build some, I think, self-confidence. confidence, right, going into the rest of the group stage. So this could be a really big map for him, I think, individually. Gus had a lot of pop-off moments, though, I will say. He had a couple clutches, had a big moment there versus Bink. So, you know, the arrows are there. It is, again, that question of, can they deal with that? Can they deal with Infinite right now that seem to be running around doing whatever they want?
And it's often we see this happen if you're just doing the college cut for the first time. During the regular season and even during moments throughout the qualifiers, the regional playoffs, things like that, we often see a lot of teams still kind of live and die by the one solid player that they were able to pull into the program, whatever it happens to be. But when we get to an environment that's like this, and you're playing up against teams like Northwood and Fisher that have the highest level of competitive experience that they're able to without being pros with Call of Duty, is you're dealing with a full group of 4 now.
Yeah.
You can't just get by like a map of the world with Cruz just doing what he normally does against other teams in the CCL, which is just dominate.
Sure.
Same thing for like Gus at the Search and Destroy. A couple of great moments from individually, but it's in 1v3s, 2v4s, situations like that where the team is still getting beat. Yeah. You're able to salvage the situation a touch, but yeah, we keep talking about it, and this is kind of the beating the dead horse statement. You have to show us a moment where this team is better than Northwood as a team. We need to see that right here, right now, in my mind.
Yeah. Has to happen going into the Expo control. Tough to hit the regain after these last 2 maps right now, but maybe it's led by one person and then the team following up. Crew's still throwing out some smiles, though. Has to get the team refocused, have to get them dialed in. Northwood, though, I mean, these guys, again, feels like they're a little bit on cruise control after going through those last 2 maps. These guys very familiar with Expo. A lot of reps, maybe not so much with each other, but certainly throughout the season. Dabs coming out, ready to load into Expo here very, very shortly. And this could be the very last map of this series. Could be a 3-0 for Northwood. Will we get a response out of the Eagles, Alan?
Yeah, the thing about it is Northwood have not lost to control all season. Haven't lost to respawn all season. Only maps they've lost been Search and Destroys. So the news doesn't get much better. I'll say that much. But the thing, again, talking about the team is Northwood does not need to communicate to one another where to go, what to do, what to hold, how are we hitting this. That is all subconscious and just default information that they're going to utilize. Whereas you kind of feel like for Oklahoma Christian, can they quarterback these plays, especially starting off on the offense? Nice little opener to get on towards A. Challenge around the back, though. Dak taking down 2 clears. Cruz still nearby, trying to take down his teammate. The challenger's seen, but no, it's a nade deep from Mock that flushes him out, and that first tick of progress has largely been fully depleted.
Yep. Decent opening so far. Now we'll see if Bink can maybe get up top and come behind this play. Oh, what a snap that is. Able to get good shots on the Frosty. Might follow it up on a Cruz, and Bink is shooting already. There will still be pressure on the point. Gus and Ray will stack it for that first tick, but Bink can peek again.
Yeah, Ray's in trouble. Hit by the stun, hit by the Septex. Big! 4 in a row. He's just not losing, not missing. Unbelievable stuff from Bink. 1 tick lock, but man, not good news here for the side of Oklahoma Christian. Kind of stuck in spawn. No one can challenge Bink on a top 2nd floor. He's got support around the back to make sure of that. He knows he's going to have a challenge here from Gus, but does get a little bit caught, and now a chance for the Eagles to stack and maybe get some progress here at B. The 2nd tick gets locked in.
That's right. Feels like it should be a B zone going over unless Mock can try to get here and stop it. That's going to be a good shutdown. Everyone out simply. Going to play for exit. So, all things considered, not too bad. Able to get that extra minute pretty early. Going to give them a full minute 50 to try to work towards the 2nd zone. And they're also starting to work out of their spawn a little bit, too.
That's a big gunfight win from Ray. Free angle being held against him. And now following up. Okay, Ray is in the mix. Love to see that. Long range, though, Mock does keep Sonic control in favor of the Northwood defense and stops a lot of that flank play from coming out. Gus is still a part of it. Crew's going to take the folks back over towards the zone. Well done. Also deletes a trophy system. This is how it could start to happen. Clearance around the back also still coming through for Gus on 4. And Northwood's pressure through the A zone largely dealt with. They just need to find Dak, and they're good to go.
Yeah, they find Dak, and all of a sudden the threat from the back may not be an issue. Cruz gets a read, but won't finish off the 2nd kill. Ray also can't follow up, and Gus is dealt with in the back. So back to step 1. The only good news is Frosty's been able to push out through the street, so that will actually shut down Dak from being able to set up that spawn trap. Big trying to lock down Ray, gets help from Infinite. They'll be able to find some decent trades, and well, Oklahoma Christian able to actually push through, but Mock, he gets right back into that position. However, trades are looking solid.
It's just one side of the map, then the other, then the other. I mean, it's so hard to keep an angle on this Northwood defense, just continuing to put pressure on the spawns. 8 plays 11, though. Just over a minute on the clock. Oklahoma Christian, stop it for a moment, but just good nade utility coming out of Northwood. Feels like almost every single time we see a tough position being held by Oklahoma Christian, there's a Sun or a Semtex that's finding the kills. Dak gets back up to another 4 spree. He's 8-2 to start. 45 seconds on the clock, and these are the last 4 lives for Oklahoma Christian. And, well, what looked to be a solid start to the offense quickly turned awry when they checked the transfer over to A.
That's right. Gus the only one really able to get through, but the lives obviously the biggest problem. Cruz and Gus would have to do it all. Now all down to Cruz. 1v8, Dak just flies at him with no respect whatsoever. See him gas it up his teammates. I'm sure getting a little hype himself, but do at least get the 4 ticks there for the Eagles. Something to build off of, but everything just kind of coming in quite nicely at the end, keeping them pinned to the back. And 11-2 for Dak right there, man.
Yeah.
Holy.
Hell of a start. You can see he's feeling it. Also, just important to note, Mock is on the Snoopy slushy grind. You see he had the smoothie,
I didn't see
smoothie
that.
in hand, dude.
That's the play, eh?
That's apparently the play. Snoopy was doing it at Toronto. He had a smoothie in hand. It's just like smoothie cam. All right. But 7 in a row for Dak.
Yeah.
Offense on the way now for Northwood. And if they win this one, man, it just, again, furthers the issue. But good start here for Oklahoma Christian. Kills through mid-map, allow them a chance to early contest over towards A. Cruz takes care of Mock, and okay, the Eagles start to fly forward.
Yeah, great opening. Thanks to the only one pushed out onto the map right now. They're going to be able to track him down. Ray puts together a nice little 3 spree to open up in round number 2. So a lot of pressure maybe on Northwood to start to look towards this B point, but the defense is also able to shift over here. So a very good moment to maybe start a snowball.
I love this. Only 2 lives have fallen right now for Oklahoma Christian. Long range, Frosty, well done. Gets away, keeps his life. Nicely done. Okay, how about this? 2 for 9 the exchange right now. Northwood having a tough time getting out of spawn. And this is, right here, this is the first time we can say Oklahoma Christian looked like they're in control of the situation. 30 seconds on the clock. No one has even seen a zone yet for Northwood. And off this respawn, it looks like their eyes are actually gauged over towards A. And that's actually where the defense is best set up for.
Oh, Frosty also just picks up too. So this play at A completely nullified. Feels like they're going to have to start to turn towards B, but this feels like it might just be the last push. Gus looking for kill number 6 to try to earn himself the cruise missile. The match with Dak is already earned. Push to the side. Gus looking for the read. Awkward gunfight. Doesn't get the cruise. And Dak will get the touch on the point. So 8 seconds here to work with to try to get this full capture.
Well, Cruz is going to try to get this a contest, though. He takes care of 1. First tick of progress, lock Cruz, putting them together here. 3 kills in a row. Infinite to his left, doesn't know that he's in this position yet. Goes for the challenge, and Infinite will find the kill. Second tick, looks to be a lock. Ray trying to jump into contest, but doesn't have the opportunity to do much with it. Still, the biggest thing about this is 21 is playing 10.
Yeah.
Frosty's on forward. He's had a great defense to this point, so even if you give him the extra 60 seconds, super convincing life lead here for Oklahoma Christian.
Exit's also looking pretty clean, Ray. Looking for the second. Infinite, not going to give it to him. 2 in a row now for him. Dead Silent's going to be popped. Chance maybe to fly on through, get to the back, and disrupt a bit of the setup that is here for Oklahoma. Dak's going to get cruise missile out. See if he can try to get some information. Does find 1, but also takes out his teammate. And they utilize the info and try to push through. They also only have 7 lives.
Yeah, I don't like that call at all for the cruise missile. I mean, they just didn't have a lot of ground to work with. They're running out of opportunities in the lives, like you mentioned. And now you're at 35 seconds and a 14 playing up against 6. Like, the only way that cruise missile really becomes valuable if it had found 2 actual kills, not a teammate plus an enemy. So, puzzling call to be sure. Northwood just trying to keep the pedal down, it feels like. And they will get to at least the first tick of progress, so they do match what Oklahoma Christian did in their first offensive round. Just comes down to, can you do anything more? Frosty's in a very safe place to contest. Gus watching over him. Support as well from Ray, who flies forward. Perfect. Very well done on the retake. Last one to get is Dak, and he does take down 2, but nothing more. And yeah, okay, tie game essentially. Small life lead maybe for Oklahoma Christian, though, throughout the first offenses.
What an opening it was for Oklahoma, right? Like you said, Alan, that's the first time we've really seen any kind of dominance come through from all 4 players, keeping them pinned at the back for a good amount of time. There was only 8 seconds left. They actually almost just had a straight-up flawless defensive round, keeping them off all of the zones there for the entirety of it. But a nice last moment there for Dak to win that battle onto Gus. That also shut down the other streak that was kind of in play there for Oklahoma. So we'll shut that down. Something to consider. Dak invests the streak, and that's really just to match the ticks coming into what will be round 3.
I would still call this an advantage to Oklahoma Christian, though.
Sure.
Opening offense, looking primed to hit over towards A. Bink Infinite, able to take down 2, so that stalls out the immediate success that Oklahoma Christian were hoping for. Cruz turns things back around towards the Eagles' direction. Bink trying to sneak his way up towards Top Cafe, but has to keep his eyes down low, and as he does, he takes care of Ray. Okay, good defensive start here for Northwood again, and Oklahoma Christian are under threat of being spawn trapped. Big win from Gus at least neutralizes the amount of numbers that are coming forward, and it does allow an opportunity for the Eagles to get on towards B for a moment.
Mock trying to line them up. Ray flying at Mock. Will get the immediate trade. Try to keep the play alive. They are all forced to funnel down low through B. A lot of players lurking from behind here, though, for Northwood. They may have an opportunity to try to get here. Problem is, it's also being read and being held right now from Gus, so this could be a pretty big problem. Slowly being captured on the B point will be that first tick. Now working towards the second, but here comes the flood through the back.
It's every single member from the back, and Oklahoma Christian are just going to have somebody pop off. Cruz Frosty deal with 2 of the 4. Not bad at all, and actually, Mock is not a part of this play. He's just trying to get kills off spawn here. So it's on to Bink if he wants the challenge, gets the first. That may allow an opportunity for both him and Dak to work to clear this before the third tick gets locked, but Gus finds one, and Dak has been red, so he's not going to get here in time. Well, 1, and how about it? 19 plays 20, minute 45 on the clock, and the player in the back has been dealt with. Oklahoma Christian could get immediately onto A, and yeah, they're already on.
Yeah, the setup wasn't there. Northwood, decided to kind of take a little bit of a longer route through, and it's going to be punished. Oklahoma get there at the right time, but Mock, huge gunfight to get one up, and what a snap that is on the Frosty. Frosty needed that trade, and now Mock might put together another, gets great help from Bink, and it's a bit of a 2v4 there from Northwood, able to clear off everyone from Oklahoma Christian. So now forced to come out of spawn, try to work through again. They got some time to work with. Minute 25 on the clock.
Oh, nice kill from Cruz. Actually completely neutralizes that trophy system. There's no one around it, so Infinite gets stunned over towards Trail. Oklahoma Christian working from the bottom left side of the minimap. Infinite around the back. Nope, not going to happen. Dak on the other side, trying to put together the pinch. He's the only defender left, though, and he's already taken some shots. So Oklahoma Christian are going to get onto this A zone. Currently just with 1, but they should have the opportunity to get multiple on to start stacking this. Have not opted to do that at the moment. First tick not locked yet. Contest is in. Mock gets 1 from the side, and hold on a second. Northwood have the numbers to try to retake this, and here comes the hit. Ray still trying to hold on. Last one left standing inside the zone. Frosty trying to help out, but no, just too good from Northwood. 10 plays 7 of the first ticks being depleted.
Down by 3 lives, but Bink again. Oh, Bink able to get 3, and that's going to really seal it. You have to imagine Oklahoma, a lot of great chances. 7 lives right down to 3, all thanks to Bink. And now this is really your final attempt. Mock has the read on it, but will be cut down. Maybe an opportunity to slowly work to this point. They still have 40 seconds left.
This is still very doable. As odd as that sounds, Infinite staying alive is key, though. If Frosty finds that at range, maybe a chance. Gus eventually flushes him out. 2v5 situation. Frosty's playing deep towards glass. He gets 2 kills. Very, very possible, but Infinite gets the read. Now it's just down to Gus from the front, and everyone is looking at him. He's got to have to go God mode. Infinite, topside windows. The first person he wanted to get the gunfight with, not going to happen. So only 3 ticks collected there for Oklahoma Christian. What was a really solid start to their offense, but Northwood back towards A, just clean on their retakes.
It's just that moment with Bink, right? Like, he just finds 3. The third kill, just unbelievable. And that's what really stops them right in their tracks. Deep spawns come through. 7 lives right down to 4. And a moment for sure. And Frosty, if he's able to win at least that 1v1 through the back on the Infinite, they
totally
can create
different.
A bit of a pinch play, right?
Totally different.
Kind of pinch them in, sandwich them in, right through the middle of the map. Doesn't happen that way, but Oklahoma certainly throwing up a bit of a fight here in map number 3. We'll see if they can try to respond again here on defense.
Have to have it, as this time Northwood will have their attention to both sites at the same time. They've got Infinite on over at A, double stack with Mock. Dak has touched B and is moving around the back side of this. He's going to be able to collect onto 2. Gus will be the one to fight up against him, but no, Dak is out of there, heading straight on over towards B. The spawners will come join him, and now Northwood have a very easy approach onto this B zone. Oklahoma Christian have to put together some sort of a retake, and it's going to be largely from the offensive side of the map, moving around the back.
Yeah, we saw Northwood do this kind of last time as well. Didn't fully work out successfully. We'll see if it works out here for Oklahoma. Have to go. First tick is locked. Bach gonna get a read on the first one, no problem. Ready for the second chow. Cruz gonna give it to him, but Cruz does find 1, make it 2. Good kills come through for Cruz. Veering off the B point. The only one through on the map right now is now Dak.
Well, Dak is waiting as much as he possibly can. He forces out one gunfight. If he gets the second onto Frosty, that's going to open up the A zone now. Sonic control plus the flush out from the defenders over towards spawn side. Thing is, this is taking time for Northwood. 45 seconds on the clock. They still don't have a convincing handle around the A zone. That helps. Nick's able to jump bomb with that kill to Frosty. Cruz trying to contest her bottom bar. He's been red, though. Nades will make sure he doesn't have a chance to contest. The first tick of progress already at 3 members stacked up.
Oh my goodness, second well on the way. Kill still looking okay. You have to try to get a retake here now. Cruz up the trail. Has been able to find himself one. Can he get 2? No. Mock for 3 in a row, and the stack should be good, and it is. That's the first time we've seen the capture here on the 8-point, and they're already flying to B.
Yeah, this is Oklahoma Christian just trying to force their way back on, and they will get here, but the second tick gets locked in with that little solo play. So time up to 1:30. Last chances here from Oklahoma Christian as the offense still has some ground to work with. These nades don't quite put themselves into play onto Infinite himself. Keeps him at bay for a moment. You do have a play from Ray coming through. Hold on a second. Nice shots at long range. That'll deal with the player defending from the second floor. Trade comes out, but all things told, this is still fine for Oklahoma Christian dealing with some forward pressure here defensively.
Oh, big win out of Infinite. Takes the reach out. Oh! Runs out of it. Infinite finds the double up, and oh no, the defense now maybe in a bit of a panic. Frosty is still here and has a chance to try to upset. Looking for kills. Dak will be able to find the kill, and now we look at the point. Final tick, well on the way. Dak last one up. Gus finds the kill. Will take out Cruz as well. They're holding on, but the pressure keeps on coming.
And Gus is still by himself. This play through mid is going to take some time here for Oklahoma Christian. He is at least able to deplete some of this progress on B. That is key to earning a little bit of time and space for this defensive player on the back to start to actually have an impact. Good trades coming through. Frosty now able to assist Gus closer towards the point. 9v7. Northwood playing around the back. Bink going to jump down through elevator. He's got help with him. The kills from the front also start to come together. Gus now by himself. Have to hold. Cruz trying to get there to assist. Bink on the zone for now. Gus takes the challenge. Is dealt with. Can Bink stay alive, though? Trophy system does not get all the way through, but it doesn't matter. The stack, again, was just too quick, too controlled at Northwood. No sweat largely in the series. They 3-0. The team that we assume will likely be the number 2 out of the group, but I'll tell you, the longer that series went on, the more I was unsure about saying that with confidence.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Alan. Man, there was a lot of opportunities to hold on there, but it's a fast A play. The first capture we've really seen in the Expo, and well, they just already had pressure right on the other zone right away too. So one of the most convincing offenses we see, and that is the closeout round. But yeah, 3-0 Northwood making a statement to kick off their first series here in the CCL LAN.
Yeah, this was, I think, a barometric test to see what this Group A was going to look like. I think, ideally, we would have liked to have seen this series be tighter, just to see that there's going to be some competition, but it looks like the divide up top is pretty steep right now between Northwood and what we assume will be the rest of the group. The only real major consideration now, I think, is what does St. Clair do, not just versus Oklahoma Christian, but can they also compete versus this Northwood team? Because if Northwood find a way to continue just to dominate, I mean, they're looking good to probably make a grand finals run, most likely in one form or another.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, a very significant test towards where both of our two top teams that we assume in Group A we're going to be at. And Northwood right now dominating the heavy-handed conversation as far as being the favorite in the group.
Yeah, level above at least so far from what we've seen. I mean, 100-point club in the hard point. You have a pretty clean search and destroy, taking the last 3 rounds in a row. And, well, we're tested a little bit, I will say, on the Expo, but we come back to our point where we say, listen, there wasn't a whole lot of reps maybe on the Expo, especially through the regular season. And leading up to the tournament, it's only really been, as of recent, throwing it into the scrim pool. But everything considered at the end, very well done for Northwood. They stabilize. A lot of members going big, and this is what we come to expect, right, is that every single member on this team has that ability to pop off, has that ability to put together 2-3 kills. You know, it's not something that you want to constantly rely on, but it's something that you can expect. So it is dangerous, 3-0, and Oklahoma now going to have to look over some of these maps, try to fix those mistakes, and like you said, really get ready for these next 2 games coming up because they are going to get tested again.
Yeah, and immediately, too, they play St. Clair next. Right. So it's not like they get a chance to go up against what is likely a weaker New Mexico State team. I mean, I think the only major positive here is the fact that we finally had a moment where we looked at Oklahoma Christian and said, okay, this is the moment where they're actually controlling this series. It was, for maybe a minute and a half, but still, there is an opportunity in there where it's like, okay, we're starting to see what this Oklahoma Christian can do. And I think on top of that, there were moments where it felt like Ray was starting to settle in. He's taking longer routes. He's going off on his own. He's hitting all these pitches, which is something that you love to see from a younger player. It just comes down to, will that confidence continue to build throughout the day? Because that, I think, is probably your biggest X factor when you compare yourself to a team like Northwood or Fisher, maybe even St. Edwards as well. So, lots of things to think about here for Oklahoma Christian. Not a lot of time to do that. Whereas for Northwood, that's probably your biggest test in your mind. Being able to get through Oklahoma Christian cleanly, you assume that the rest of the day is going to go pretty easy for you.
Yeah, you have to imagine it should. Very, very dominant. Still looking to keep that flawless series record in play. So, nice 3-0 ends up coming in 3-1 to get the job done in the control. 31 kills from Dak, man. Holy, this guy was just absolutely flying. He was just going off every single map that we had. I will say Infinite maybe stole it away from him in the Hydro, but outside of that, Dak puts up a big 9-10 kills, 21 of those non-traded. A lot of assists coming through there for Bink, as well as Infinite, as you point out there, Alan.
Dude, 3,600 damage for Bink. 25 and 26 with 14 assists. 20 of his 25 non-traded. That's kind of ridiculous. You want to talk about true engagement success percentage. That's a stat that would go through the roof right there for Bink. So impressive stuff from Northwood all the way through. I mean, it's just as calm and collected as you would have assumed looking back over the best of 5. It started off with Oklahoma Christian picking into one of Northwood's best hardpoint maps as well. Again, they kind of shared a map pool when it comes to some of their favorite map mode combinations. So we kind of expected to see something like a Hydro come through. I didn't expect to see it be that convincing, though, because there really wasn't a moment where Oklahoma Christian looked like they had their feet underneath them. I think if we were to have seen them play that map against like a St. Clair or New Mexico with Ray settling in, I think the results would be very different as far as how competitive they look on the map. But overall, Northwood just didn't break a sweat at all throughout this series, and that's dangerous for anybody who happens to be on the other side of the stage from them.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Going forward, going to be a problem. And yeah, man, there was just like the only time they even got the Hydro was like the first 10 seconds. It felt like a lot of those hills, right?
Yeah.
Tough scenes all around, but our big regain needs to come through because Oklahoma Christian now need to find a big rebound going into their next matchup. Northwood, though, cruise control, it felt like for a lot of those maps, get tested at the Expo. Other than that, to get the job done, looking really solid, and now have a chance to keep that ball rolling throughout the rest of today.
You would assume that would be the case. Just, again, give you the played expectations. That seems to be how things would go. Again, there's multiple matches that are happening, though, at the same time. Of course, you kind of see those right underneath us right here on this little ticker as far as who's doing what, where. I don't know if we have any other results yet as far as what's happening in the other groups or the other matches that are currently going on, but how about that? We do. How about take a look? Okay, so, yeah, St. Clair finish off their series versus New Mexico State. Fisher and St. Edwards, they must be going to map 4, whereas the University of North America were able to, I think, take a 3-0 by the look of it against Davenport. So we've got St. Clair and Oklahoma Christian coming up next in Group A. Northwood will, of course, play New Mexico State. And here's the bad news for New Mexico State. We look at that St. Clair series as that is probably who ends up finishing up in the top 3.
Yeah.
So now New Mexico State have to kind of hope that they're in a position to be competitive with Northwood and then maybe upset Oklahoma Christian in their final matchup. Otherwise, their group stage will come to an end. Yeah. Kind of the same situation for Davenport as well. It kind of felt like that matchup versus UMNA would probably be their most winnable match, pending, of course, that St. Edwards, doesn't, put together a good opening day. But if they're going map 4 versus Fisher, you assume that series is probably pretty competitive. So those are at least the early expectations.
Yeah. Have to expect it. And well, now they go up against St. Edwards as well coming up next, right?
Yep.
So that'll be another great matchup for as far as, what could end up shaking up in that group number B. Again, that one I think is really difficult to lock down for as far as what we're going to get, especially for Seed 2, Seed 3. So a lot can happen, a lot can shake up, Alan.
Key matchups coming up next in our second slot of group play action. We'll step away for a break, get everything set up. We come back, more College COD LAN playoffs right after this.